Welcome. You're watching Spirit of Life. I'm Norm Currie, and today we're speaking with Pastor Steve from the Church of Nazarene. Thanks for coming in again, Steve.
Happy to be here.
Fascinating as we've unfolded your particular experience with cross-cultural. And we finished last week in talking about unconditional love and everything that goes with that. There's love. How do you feel it when you see or detect it, when you know the person can see you making the effort to be that love, but they don't trust you? And it's not because they don't trust you, they don't trust anything outside of their immediate understanding and experience because of their past horrific life experiences.
You're quite right. Some people, when they see somebody coming, loving them, they think, why does he love me?
What's the price?
Yeah, he wants something. They don't understand that, but slowly they understand, and you say, okay, this person, he's genuine, he really loves me, he cares for me. But not everyone will respond the way you wish they respond. I mean, it's just like God loves all of us, but how do we respond towards him? Some, in a negative way, and some don't even want to hear the name of God and don't want to hear about Jesus. And yet, you keep telling them, Jesus' love is unconditional. You will never find love anywhere else if you don't taste and see the love of Jesus.
Love of Jesus, yeah.
And so, but we keep on giving out, and we keep on giving the love, and sometimes we come across the people. The more you love them, the more angry they get.
That's right.
And we try to understand why. What is it? Now, for example, with the Sudanese, these people that they were, they came to Australia out of broken country and broken homes and violence and death and terrible terror. And what was happening with the government, with the politicians? They don't trust the politicians. They don't trust the government. Now, for example, here we have a lot of migrant people who don't want to be inoculated. They don't want to, They say they see this as controlling by the government, and taking the liberty away and all of that, and so they react differently. If I may say, not long ago, just about 3 weeks ago, the local member from Canberra called me, and she said, "Pastor Steve, I want to ask a question. Why aren't the Greeks getting inoculated? Why are they getting vaccinated? I said, "You want me to tell you?" I said, "Because they're coerced and they pushed, and they see this as you mandated to them and say, oh, you either get it or and the natural reaction is to say no.
To react again.
I'm not going to let you control me." And they said, "How can we do it?" I said, "Education and patience. You educate people. They want to see that you really sincerely care for them. What you're doing, you're not doing it out of controlling, but out of care." And I know the government, that's what they want to do. They want to do what they want to do. Maybe they don't get it right always, but I like to believe that they're there to protect us and they're there to look after us.
One of the big mistakes I think they've made in relation to this is raising the police up as bogeymen. And that's the last thing that people like the Sudanese and many of the European, the last thing they want to see is police raised up, because they don't trust the police, they don't trust the military. So as soon as you do that, you're on a losing streak straight off.
Up go the guards, and they really they kind of go into this bunker mentality. Oh, we gotta defend ourselves.
And see, with this too, and I think we can lead this further into the discourse about cross-cultural, is one of the things which is the problem with COVID is fear. Fear on the part of the government, because they don't understand what they're dealing with, and the fear on the part of the people because the government doesn't tell them how they're going to deal with it. Everything's like this. So, do you identify with that feeling of fear? Is that
Yes.
part of what the experience is? Yeah.
Fear and ignorance, I would say. They don't really know much about this vaccination. We don't know where it came from and what it's all about.
Yeah.
And also this coercion. These are you either do it or you're out.
Yeah.
You know, and so it has affected this lockdown and these restrictions. The migrant, these groupings of migrant people like the Greeks and the Sudanese and the Pacific, they really feel it much more
strongly,
than what an Anglo-Saxon would. You know.
And because there's a media and language issue too, isn't it? It's a major one.
It is, and that's why a lot of the government material, they send it to me, for example, they say, look, we've got it in Greek, can you give this in the Greek language or in Sudanese language or all of that? And so the Sudanese pastor, he tries to convey that, look, we live in Australia now. The government is not like a corrupt government back then.
That's right.
We think they're corrupt sometimes,
that's right.
but in comparison to, really, our politicians are saints.
That's exactly right. It's all relative, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so when we come down from that and we say, okay, what would be the bits that are missing? The bits that are missing, let's look at the cross-cultural component, not just COVID. What are the bits that you think could be reinforced? Now, we mentioned media. What sort of other components do we need to emphasise? Yeah.
I think that we just need to look at the people and try to understand where they're coming from. Just show patience. A lot of people say to me, these people have been here 30, 40 years, they can't speak English, I say, hang on. Have you asked them where they've been working? They've been working in factories with Greek people.
That's right.
They have very little communication, very little.
Well, that's right. And communication, usually it takes time to communicate, and we're out of it.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Spirit of Life, and we're speaking with Pastor Steve from the Church of the Nazarene. Steve, there's an entity called Zondas, which I've heard mentioned.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, the word Zondas, now I sound like Greek, it's Greek, it's a Greek word. Like all the words are, mentioned, it's got a Greek background. Zondas means life, like you said,
right?
Spirit of life.
Spirit of life, yeah.
So Zondas means living. Zondas 100% means living a full life.
Right. Yeah.
And that refers to our faith, living out a full life, a full life of love and compassion and caring for others and happiness and hope and all of that it comes out of the Christian faith.
Right.
So that program, it's appropriate because I think the title is appropriate because it indicates that people can live 50% or 80% of their lives.
Yeah.
But they can live 100%.
Yeah.
And this is what our aim is, to bring the people to the point where they can live out a life of happiness and of hope and love and all of that comes with the love of Jesus. The program was founded by some people in Canada, the Zondas, and slowly it spread to America and Greece and Australia and Germany and South Africa and so on. And so it is in Greek language. and it contains personal testimonies, how people came to faith, and there is a bit of entertainment, like a song of Christian faith and so on, and then a little message, and then what we're doing is we have 50% of the program. It's from the international zondas of that program, and then we add localized program. But what is the uniqueness of this program is that it's the only Greek Christian program in the world with English subtitles.
Okay.
So whatever it takes, right, whatever it transpired there, even if a song, translated in subtitles what the song is saying.
Yes.
If there's a message or if there's a testimony, if somebody who wants to share about the Christian faith, everything, it is in with English subtitles.
That's cross-culturally,
Yes.
That's very good, isn't it?
This is what we want to say. Look, we don't want people who can tune in. Like today, I picked up a letter in our box, in a mailbox, and it said, Anglo-Saxon. If I tell you his name, he doesn't sound like Greek. It's not Papadopoulos or anything. No. It's, it's Anglo-Saxon name.
Yeah.
And he said, what a wonderful program you have.
Yeah.
He said, I really follow, and thank you for the subtitles, you know that. He said, I follow every Thursday, because the same program is broadcasted on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, and then Thursday.
Right.
And so we're reaching out, correctly as you said, that we don't want to be just Greekanized, just for the Greek, but we want to other people to welcome them and say, look, what we're sharing, we think it's worth for you knowing as well, and participate in this knowledge. So that is, and we have thousands of programs that been broadcast here in Australia with subtitles, nowhere else in the world.
That's very interesting. And so the international, where is that produced?
In Canada.
Canada, right.
But the person who founded it, he will go all around where Greek-speaking people are, and they will take interviews, and then they will get someone to share with me. 30 years ago, when I was in Sydney, I remember he came and he called me and he said, I want you to come to the Opera House, and with the background of the Opera House, and want you to give a few messages there.
Oh, right.
Now, someone from Canada came to Australia to speak to Greek-speaking.
Right.
But we in Australia here, whatever we do it, we give subtitles.
Well, Zondas then arose out of a fairly insightful person, Greek person presumably, in Canada.
Yes.
Who saw the need for this. That's quite powerful.
Yes, he saw media, it's a way of reaching out to the people, and we know right now, I never did live messages, and now during lockdown, I had to do 2 messages, one English, one Greek.
Yes.
Live message.
Yes, it's a, but as we language, so let's look at the trip points for the cross-cultural. The first trip point, would that be language?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you came, and you've got the benefit of having that background, I'm 4 or 5 generations or something, I've got no idea, and so it's really impactful to say that, okay, that you felt sort of totally disoriented by language. And that's multiplied by every ethnicity that we have in Australia.
Yes, you're right. The language is a big barrier. Then the people understanding where they're coming from, like the misinformation that is going around about this cultural group.
Yes.
The fear of other people towards them, or the suspicions they have towards them, and the misunderstanding that is happening. And they know that these people thinking like that about us. Yes. They know that.
That's right. It's really quite a insidious. It's insidious. So is the passage of time insidious, Steve. And we're out of it.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Spirit of Life, and we're speaking with Pastor Steve from the Church of the Nazarene. And we were talking about Zondas, which seems like a pretty good idea, which is raised in Canada. And you do a program, don't you? The Zondas is a local program as well as...
Yes. As well, part of from the international Zondas.
Yeah.
And it's broadcasted on Channel 31 on Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really thankful that Channel 31 has accommodated for us for many years.
Yes, yes.
We've been involved with Channel 31 for many, many years. And it's really a joy and it's really a privilege to work with this community channel.
Yeah, provides a good facility, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah. Yes, it's I suppose in a way talking about facilitating, even though we're probably looking to look at the whole COVID thing as being negative, but there's hope has been aroused within it, and the Church of the Nazarene. What's been your role in that? Have you found yourself with an interface with the whole COVID issue?
I think this COVID pandemic, it has turned our world upside down.
Yes, yes.
Well, I never thought, for example, that I'd be sitting in front of a monitor and do live messages.
Yes.
For me, you bring message to the church, not to, to the... And also to write weekly letters and to do follow-ups of people and find out how they're coping during this lockdown and the pandemic. Because the church in the last 18, 20 months really opened only 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, yeah. And you substituted that with Zoom, regular Zoom? Or
regular Zoom meetings, especially with the leaders, church leaders, because the older people, they're not very familiar with the technology, and that what is missing really. A lot of the migrant people who don't understand the language and they don't understand the technology, they felt the isolation even
double.
More severely,
So
we had to be innovative. How do we do church under these restrictions? And but it's wonderful how we human beings can adapt. And we can say, okay, I haven't done this way before. I want to try it. And you say, okay, it's working.
Yeah, we were talking before about unconditional love. Another statement would be, how do we do love under these restricted circumstances?
You're right. Yeah. I think this pandemic has brought a lot of bad out of us, the worst I would say, but it brought the best out of us too.
Yeah.
And as Christians, we are facing every day with these, that we have a hope. I believe we as Christians, if you believe in Jesus and you believe in God and you love God and you love your neighbor, we have so much to offer.
Yes.
People feel isolated and lonely. We as a church, we can visit. If you can't visit, you can bring them. You can send them little parcels, like with our senior group. We send little parcels and little on Mother's Day, for example, we sent flowers to all the mothers.
Yes.
They were not at church, they were home.
Yes.
So we did something special. Fathers, same thing. We just send them something on Father's Day and contact them and send them newsletter and say, you know, we're here, and we care for you. What's happening? You're not alone. Don't feel lonely. Ring somebody.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody. You know, and it's been very challenging.
Yes.
And a lot of churches, I believe, in what I speak with, they might never open again.
Oh, really?
Because people kind of, you know, they moved on, or they just feel, well, you know, do I need the church?
Right. So the body of the church has broken open.
It has, and that's why I said this crisis has brought the best and the worst out of us.
Yeah.
And it has become schismatic.
Yep.
You know, there's pro-vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, all of that, and Christians, you know, and the Christians, they give different conspiracy theory interpretations of, you know, all of that, and that can bring quite a bit of confusion.
Huge amount.
Yeah.
And a mental health confusion, not just fear and lack of trust, but actual mental health.
You're right. This is what, because I'm a pastor counselor and I speak with people, and sadly, a lot of people who were at the verge of mental illness, this has pushed them totally off the cliff.
Yes.
And they feel the loneliness, and they feel depressed, and they feel, you know, and what do we do as a church?
Yeah. One of the strong things that seems to be penetrating the conspiracy theories are partly about this, but it goes even more than that, is a deadly state of mind called paranoia.
Yes.
and that's really been exacerbated by this.
Yes.
It is looking for a place to find trust.
Yes.
Now, peripherally, in your church, have you found that people have fallen away because of lack of trust?
Not in our church.
No.
Other churches are here. But in our church, the people, they're still there. Unfortunately, not everyone is vaccinated, because we spoke about it, how the migrants, they a little bit suspicious about authorities telling them what to do and all of that. And so I just did a funeral the other day, funeral service, and people were only 30 because a number of them were not vaccinated. And of course, now if you're not vaccinated, the limit is 30, that's all.
Yes.
Mixed, vaccinated. You can have funeral service, but only 30. If they were all vaccinated, could have 100, 200. So I'm just saying that how it's affecting this pandemic.
This conversation with you, Pastor Steve, has been wonderful. So thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting
It may be later, years later or months later, whatever, we'll put the hard word on you again to interview you.
I'll be happy to come.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. You've been watching Spirit of Life. Join us again next week. Bye for now.